Hi, and welcome to Thursday PD. I'm so glad to be back with our super celebrities. We have Georgina Dean. Maybe.
Greetings.
I don't know. We have Seti.
Hello, everyone.
And we have Gary.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening. Fantastic. So today we're doing back to school, and we're just going to have a light and easy session. I haven't told these guys yet, but I think 30 minutes is plenty, to be honest.
Yeah,
I agree. It's the first one back. It'll take people a bit of time to get back into it. So yeah, let's go with that.
So I think that's all part of the fun.
It's the first one back. Oh, I am getting some feedback there.
Rookie move.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's going live out to YouTube, so the fact that we're getting that feedback means that we're live. I see that we've already got 2 viewers. If you are one of those 2 viewers, drop something in the chat. Make sure that you let us know where you're coming from, who you are, and don't forget to share out the link, because we need more viewers as we are getting back into the new academic year.
Yes.
That is fantastic. First things first. Gary, what have you got on YouTube? I'm quite curious.
Maybe you want to show them the video. It's because Google has this new playlist for parents and guardians, wherein how can we assist parents and guardians, especially those who are not really techy? How can we use it? So
I've seen some familiar faces in that playlist. I think 2 of them are actually in this session right now.
No wonder you didn't tell us what it was about before Andy dropped it in.
Well, it's just for parents, so we all need to be tech savvy right now, since all of us are going online and we have no choice. So we have to be very careful what we do online. So these are some tips for parents on how we can use these tools for learning, especially for helping our child. Because this time we are not just parents, we are also learning facilitators and the guidance counselors of our kids. So how do you use these tools? So it's all about.
Cool.
It's a playlist, so there's a lot of video. Maybe we can play this.
I've watched the entire playlist, and I must say it's incredibly valuable information that's being shared. I love the fact that every single video is under 5 minutes. I don't think there's a single one that's longer than 5 minutes. So it's really very quick little overviews. Regina, I think you're the one that opened it. I think you're the one that sort of had the main, the big part to get it all started. And then there was a couple of other familiar faces. I saw Abid, he was in there. I saw Gary and some really good stuff. Some stuff about security and safety. Some things about getting the apps and the Chromebooks all started and ready for the new year. So definitely something I'll be sharing out to parents and friends and colleagues. So yeah, I highly recommend that everyone watching this stream checks out that playlist after this stream and after you've clicked on subscribe, because there's a red button down below that should not be red. If it's red, you need to click it right now. Otherwise, you won't be here for the next session. Gotta get that YouTube thing going, don't we?
You're demonstrating the YouTube thing. That's good. That's really good.
No, but for real, guys, there's going to be some super epic content on this season. I was really lucky to join mid-season last year, and it's going to be epic with a lot of new faces, guest speakers, and your superstars around me. And you don't want to miss these topics. So definitely click subscribe. We'll be here every Thursday at the same time.
Maybe not all of us at the same time, but many of us will be present every single week. Also, in terms of content, this year is going to be absolutely jam-packed with different contents. We've got all sorts of releases. We've got different materials that are going to be shared by us, presentations. It's just, make sure that you're here every single Thursday if you can. And also that you invite some new people, because it's always great to have a larger audience. And maybe you've got some things that you'd like to share. Let us know, and then we can always pull you into one of our streams. It's always great to have more people join, as many people as possible. And with that, actually, I think we have a couple that may come back later in today's session. But yeah, I think maybe shall we move on to our main topic and talk about some back to school things that we've sort of thought about and what we're trying to prepare for this academic year. When is school starting for you again, Gary, or you didn't have a summer?
Well, school starts on the 24th of August.
Okay.
So I have few days left to relax. So that's it.
Brilliant.
On the 24th.
Georgina, yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty close to Gary. We're actually going back for prep and induction with staff on the 23rd, since we start the work week on a Sunday here in the Middle East. And then for the students, I think we're going back in the first week of September. I don't remember the exact date, but basically a week later after that.
Okay. So, yeah. Wonderful. How about you, James? Have you gone back yet, or?
Yeah, I've gone back, but I'm starting teaching tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm back tomorrow, but it's inset days. I've got 3 more days of no teaching days, and then we're back into it. So it's definitely a bit sooner than September.
And we have a guest joining us all the way from America. So shout out to Shannon, who is joining us live. Shannon, drop where you're joining us from in the chat. I think she said CA. I can never remember my states. Is that California, guys?
I have no idea, but I do know the name because the name is active on Twitter. So that's another place you can find us, by the way. If you're not active on Twitter yet, get on Twitter, reach out to all of us. We've got our names. You'll see our names in the description and so forth. Just reach out, drop your questions. Guaranteed one of us will answer that. Usually Georgina's very active on Twitter, so
and she's pouring some people.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Lots of celebration.
It's wonderful because we went on a beach holiday, and I was actually I was able to say I don't have to answer this. She'll take care of it, and guaranteed within 10 minutes you'd answered the question, and you got the whole GEG Global involved, and so yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah. She's Wonder Woman.
Can I say that I have like an accessory for that?
Oh, wow.
See? I told you.
That's
Wonder
epic.
Woman.
That was good. You guys have to admit that was pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
But listen, Shannon's going back to school in 2.5 hours, she says in the chat, guys. I think over in North America, they may start much earlier than us over here on this side of the world. So I think they've already started. Yeah. So Shannon, while we're going through our topics today, make sure you share. Let us know what you've already started, what's working well, because this is all sharing is caring here.
Yeah,
if I may ask, what formats is it? An in-person? Is it a sort of a hybrid model, or are you doing online learning? Because obviously those things will impact how you teach and obviously what you will be using moving forward. I do see that there's also, Vip has also asked, what steps are your schools taking to welcome the community back? So maybe that's the first question we can try to answer, and then we'll move on to the all virtual. There you go. So
it's a good job. We've got that one lined up. We've got that one lined up.
Georgina, do you want to take that first about the sort of the main steps your school is taking to welcome the entire community back?
Yeah, this is really great. So whether you're returning in like a hybrid model or completely virtual, steps that you can take are absolutely to set up a virtual space where your staff can start to communicate together and share and welcome back virtually, so that if you have the opportunity to go live in person, you've already kind of said that hello, how are you? And then the connection back, meeting each other face to face, if it's possible, is definitely better. So you're going to look at things like you can take virtual choice boards. So where did you go? What have you read? What was your new playlist that you listened to? And you can do virtual share boards like that work out really good if you're in an all virtual situation. But what I really like about using those virtually if you're in person as well is that it's very easy to share, as we know, across our devices. So what I really love about this new era that we're returning back to is that we can actually take those blended strategies and use them regardless of the environment. So I'm excited about that.
Brilliant. How about, what would be your main sort of takeaways from the holiday that you had, and sort of having a bit of a some downtime and reflecting on the year and reflecting on everything that's happened, what are your main takeaways? If you could give every teacher listening and watching this 2 tips, no more than 2, what would be your 2 biggest tips?
My 2 biggest tips. Shall I continue, or shall we give the microphone to Gary or James to start first?
I'm happy for everyone to just drop their main 2 things, because it's always hard. We've got so many things that we want to share, but if you limit it to 2, then I think we can get some real gems there. So
So my top biggest tips are be prepared. And instead of spending your time preparing in lesson planning and all of that, create your lesson plans virtually inside your Google Classroom or your Microsoft Teams, whatever is your learning management system, and prepare them ahead for the week so they're ready to go at the starts of your lessons. It's going to help you be organized and your students as well. And my second biggest tip is make sure that you blend analog and digital experiences for your students collaboratively in your systems. They can't sit there for 2, 4, 6 hours at a time just learning digitally. And so create small chunks of collaborative, creative content, and then give them time offline where they can create to learn either digitally or offline, but that you've given them that space to process and create. So those are my 2 biggest tips.
That's absolutely amazing. I couldn't agree more. I think that especially the whole blended approach, and it's just so important. I really don't want all of us to go back to school or in person teaching and just forget everything that we've just learned over the last 4, 5, 6 months.
I think what's really smart about this approach is that if we do have to suddenly go back to online, you're already ready for it. And I think that for me is I'm planning all my lessons first thinking about how could I deliver this distance, and then I think it's an absolute bonus if I can deliver it in person. Because everything that works online works in person as well. Quizzes, Quizlet, all of those fun tools, they work either way, and they even add value just by the fact you're in proximity to people. And when we go back, we still have to be physically distanced from each other, at least 1 meter, 2 meters. So I think those are key things. And also limiting the number of people on school. So we're only allowing the children back in. We're not allowing parents on site. They have to drop their kids off.
We're doing the same thing. We're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think
that's good for safety. I like that, actually. I hadn't considered that. That's great, James.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as our school has gone super high tech, before we started scanning this, and now, funnily enough, I have to say that lots of people are having trouble being recognized as they walk into the school. I walk in, instant. James Bella, go straight through. It's like, I don't want to say that the algorithms may be slightly biased towards certain colors and certain lack of hair, but they don't seem to have any problems recognizing me.
It does make it easier to sort of read the temperature off the top of the head. So
that's right. I think that's probably it. You're right. You should all shave your hair.
I think we should all shave our head and just walk in that way. I think that would make for an amazing first day back to school if all the teachers would just show up.
It's and everybody else was like, no, I don't recognize. No, I watched it. Bang, that's it.
Well, we've luckily we've got sort of that backup system. So you've got the thermo scan, and that's sort of taking a temperature. But then we've got the ID card, which actually lets us in, and so you can still swap your cards, and then someone else gets recognized. But still, nobody wants the alarm to go off when your temperature's too high.
You don't use the code anymore. It just goes dunk in. That's it. It's, I'm like everybody else is like, what? How does he get it?
So there you go. That's another. I mean, don't grow a big beard and don't.
It's interesting. It's interesting we're talking about physical appearance, though, because I know some of our colleagues in North America have gone back to school and they've been sharing how it's quite difficult to teach or facilitate in the masks. And it had me thinking, if the students aren't really going to be able to see our facial expression and see how excited we are about what we're sharing with them, maybe we can take a bigger approach to student-based learning where we pre-record our sessions like James was encouraging anyway, so that students are watching it without a specific facilitating, where we actually are able to just walk around and support, ask some questions here and there. But instead of us actually even giving 5 minutes of content at the front of the room, they can watch it and they can still see our smiles and all of our hair or lack of hair, whatever your situation is.
I'm all for it. I mean, I've been shouting this for such a long time. Just, let people learning, include everyone. So yeah, no, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And mind you, facial expression, I've seen some amazing inventions as in mask technology where it's all see-through and you can really see, you can still have lip readers, you can still have facial expressions. Obviously they're more expensive, but they're reusable masks. They work with PM 2.5 because we all know it's going to come back by the end of the year. We've got that issue again. So, we might be wearing a mask for, it could be that we're wearing it for 2 reasons. We'll be wearing it to protect ourselves from this pandemic. And then we'll be wearing it to protect our lungs from the air we're breathing. So I've seen some really amazingly designed things. And I think it's the whole design thinking cycle. And you're going through it now at the Innovator Academy. But people have taken this problem and they've said, look, this is a problem. People want to see your facial expressions and they've just gone with it. They say, look, wearing a mask is the best thing to do in this situation. Well, let's find a way to still have, a human face in front of us. So, yeah.
True. I think the see-through masks are a kind of good idea so you can see what's going on. It's a lot of fun.
Do you guys, I'm curious then, do you guys have them in your countries already available? Because the masks, the technology that Sethi's mentioning, is that available already? That's super cool.
It is available. It's privately. It's different private companies that have seen it as sort of a niche to sort of go into. You can't find it everywhere. There are certain shopping. It's the thing about. I don't know if you've been to Thailand, but the thing about Thailand is that there's literally shopping malls everywhere. And so when there was when this whole mask wearing thing started, I think we have millions and millions of different designs just everywhere. So people are wearing the ones that can just be dropped down and hang off your neck. They're wearing the adjustable ones. My kids have a collection of superhero masks, and every day they can just say, today I want to wear my Transformers masks, and tomorrow I want to wear my Batman mask. And so it's just, I think that's one of the benefits of being in a place where there's just, it's just a lot of the commerce around it is both sort of something that you sometimes think, should they be doing this, or is this all right? They're making, they're profiting off of the pandemic, but my kids love it. They love the fact that they can just put on their Transformers masks and look like a Transformer, like it's Optimus Prime, and today I'm Optimus Prime, and so they wear it. So I do think it does have a plus side to it.
I think that there is a silver lining thing. It's like when we go to the dentist. Well, I don't know about everybody's experience when they were growing up, but when I was a kid, we get that flavored fluoride, right, to rinse our mouth with, or you go to the doctor and they used to give you a lollipop 3 decades ago. Yes, I'm that old. And so, if it's Transformer masks that's going to help our students and or your kids feel safe, then why not, right?
It was the same with my youngest. He would never have his haircut. And then we found this local haircutter, and they have like these airplanes. It's almost like a fun ride that you can go and sit in with like a telly in the front, and it looks like they're flying an airplane. And he just sits in it, has his haircut, no problem, loves it. Eric.
Hey, hi, Eric.
In this season.
Yeah. We're on back to school, and we've pretty much almost stayed on tangents.
Nice.
I think we've discussed one question from the audience. Sorry, all people watching. Make sure you share it out so we can ignore more people. But we'll do our best to get back to the topic.
That is so excited. He's back again.
It's been a long summer. I literally just took a month and a half of just
relaxing.
Nothing, just absolute minimum.
I like your haircut, Sethi. Looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I'm going to start filming again tomorrow. So
nice. Yeah, better get sharp.
Now we know.
Okay, so
we just talked about beards and facial recognition. So, Eric, do you want to share a little bit about?
Wait, you recognize me? Nice. Yeah, I've had no police recognize me for like weeks now.
You're on a start.
Okay, so,
we were sharing, Eric, before you jumped in, two things. It was actually Sethi's question. Two things, your top tips for going back to school. So whether it's strategies, resources, anything that you've picked up from over the summer that is your main top two tips, what would you say?
While Eric is thinking, let me share mine.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, first,
anybody else got
here in the Philippines, we're not going back physically to school, so we have to stay online. So my tip for all teachers, not just from Filipino teachers, is that be prepared to teach online, but make sure that your activities doesn't need to be online to keep the balance. That's one. And for those who are going online, make sure that you wear your smile well, because that's the only thing that you can. That's one of the ways that you can engage your student. One of the ways that you can keep them interested, and maybe you'll lighten up the day of your students. So you have to look good. You have to smile, give a positive aura, give a positive atmosphere online. Even if we are online, it can be done. Okay, so make your activities, prepare for online, prepare to teach online, but prepare your activities offline, and then wear your best smile. Yeah. So Eric, your turn.
Well, my first thought was something a lot like what you were talking about, making your activities compatible with being online. I was thinking about how if you're playing baseball or football or ultimate frisbee, only one of which I've ever been any good at, then one idea is if you're playing out in the way out there, it's easier to run forward than it is to run backward. And so it's like, it seems like it's, if you can make a plan that works in face to face, but it's harder to go in the direction of online. So if you make a plan that works online, it's much easier to do face to face with that plan. So there's a lot more online compatible plans that are also offline compatible, whereas the other way around is not so good. So and in fact, there's a lot of good ideas about online approaches that really do work. It's like it takes some courage to do, like the playlist approach with Global Online Academy, where you're giving different choices where students can choose what they want to do next, but they all end up arriving at the same conclusion. There's a lot more freedom, and it's far away from the traditional classroom approach. But it's like, if you are already doing that when suddenly your school has to close, you are set. Like, it's really so much better off. So yes, very much like what you were saying there. And also in terms of safety, it's really hard, like everybody's got to be disciplined, and so being the most consistent role model, not just consistently telling other people what to do, but consistently doing the right thing, which is very hard. But it's sort of like when I was in class, I mean, I love reading, but I never make time for it. But when I was there with the students, I was like, hey kids, we're going to read for you, but I got to read too. And so for them, I'm able to do a lot more things than I'm able to do just for myself. And so for them, I can be more consistent, can be a better role model of safety, because you got to have some peaks, even if people are like a little less focused than you. If you make yourself one of the peaks of a model behavior, then they exist, and they can move in that direction. So that's a thought.
I love that. I absolutely love that. We need a second channel. We need a channel that's sort of like ThursdayPD clips. You have those big channels that have like clips channels where you take like little snippets, and that's what we need. We just need these little nuggets of sort of wisdom and knowledge. Just boop.
I think I did do one clip, and I think it got a lot of views actually. So I think this clip idea's got mileage, especially what you just said. The only downside I've discovered is that you don't get the full view of the person if we didn't happen to put it together. But then I think that's part of the fun, right? It just happens to go.
We had also some nice comments in the chat, guys. Shannon was saying that communication is key. And I think this is really big, like not just communication from educators on what students need to do, like success criteria and goals, but also school leaders communicating with the parent communities and with educators. This is what's going to happen in this time frame, etc. So really good shout out from Shannon. And also Mel was talking about having roles and then they rotate for responsibility. So helping people feel like they are an important, valued part of the community will be key as well, because they've had that disconnected emotional, missing that emotional connection, right? And so if we give everybody something that they for sure have a focus to be involved in when they get back to school, I thought that was a brilliant idea. So thanks for sharing. I'm going to actually take that on myself.
Cool. I mean, I think one of the ones that I saw from Vip just now is that she's talking about hyperdocs, and hyperdocs sound really, really exciting and terribly, confusing. But actually, it's a set of slides or a Word doc or a Google doc, and all it is just links with a nice contents page so that students can work through at their own pace. But what's brilliant about that is it works in distance learning, but it also works in person, because then you can explain it and share it. So I think that's just a really nice thing. Thanks, Vip, for that one. We're getting some great stuff going on.
I'm just going to highlight the following one here that I saw about using the rubber duck. And that's because my top two are actually two extremes. So on one side, it's don't introduce new stuff. That's my number one tip to go back. But then on the other side is introduce a lot of new things, as in don't just get stuck on trying over. And if it doesn't work, throw it out and try something new. Don't be afraid of trying something new. And it sounds very strange to have those as my top two tips, but in a sense,
categories.
It's very different. So the rubber ducks, if you haven't heard about rubber duck coding or rubber duck teaching, or look it up. It's absolutely amazing. It works really, really well. And just in terms of having your students reflect and just talk to their problems and their sort of, if they get stuck on something, they talk through it. It's absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to highlight that, because reading that made me happy inside. So like, ooh, someone who knows what a rubber duck does.
Well, I'm really confused, because here in this channel, I have heard rubber ducky 2 times in totally different contexts. One of them is this thing that you're saying, and the other one is when I was like, the other day I was like, we were doing Chromebooks, hundreds of Chromebooks, and I was like, something, I heard about something called the rubber ducky that we should be doing right now. But no, that's totally different.
Sabi, I remember while you're talking, I remember Felicity. I hope you still remember Felicity.
Oh yes,
definitely.
A rubber ducky.
Yeah. She's really into the rubber duck. She actually brought a bag with 20 rubber ducks to the Innovator Academy, and she was like, "Look, if you come to my session, I'll explain what these are about. But you have to adopt it, and you have to sign the paper." And it's absolutely amazing. It's brilliant. So that's one type of rubber duck. But I do, Eric, when you're setting up hundreds of Chromebooks, look into a rubber duck key, because it is going to save you a lot of time.
Okay, so let's have a link here for clueless people like me, but also our viewers. I looked up something, and I don't know if it's relevant or not. It said something about rubber duck teaching helps you learn while you teach, or something like that. Digital class. Yeah.
Do you want to take this, Georgina? Because I see a big smile when you heard rubber ducks.
No, I was just thinking about the rubber duck that my husband actually has on his desk on the other side of my computer screen. So I'm going to bring that to the next Thursday PD session, okay?
So if you want to learn about rubber duck coding or rubber duck teaching or anything to do with rubber ducks,
it sounds like we've got an entire session already.
I think we've got our next session next week. You're going to have to come back.
Nice one.
So we have some pretty exciting news to share today, right, guys? I have been sharing Thursday PD all over social media, and it looks like we have some pretty exciting news to share. So who wants to
talk
start
about trying something new? If you want to try something new this year, or if you're noticing that your lessons get stuck, someone here has the solution to that, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get that one sorted, really. And I just literally made it free 3 hours ago. And so I think this might be a surprise even for you guys. And I cannot believe this because I was like, no, that looks like I did a dodgy job on this one. Let me see. How do I do this? Oh, yeah, I do that. Oh, yeah, somebody presses it. I can't believe I actually hit the Amazon bestsellers list.
No way. That is so cool. Wow.
That's real.
Nice.
Absolutely real.
That's amazing.
I know. And I can't quite believe it myself. So please feel free to check the link. 100% legit. Because I could have edited that page pretty easily to do that. But to do it for real feels extra special.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I want to send it, and he's probably not watching, but I want to give this big shout out to Sean Thompson, because all he said to me all summer is, I'm going to make you a #1 bestseller. I'm going to make you a #1 bestseller. I'm going to make you a #1 bestseller. Wow. 3 hours in, and I'm a #1 bestseller.
Nice. That's amazing.
So when he updates his course, I'll be sure to make sure you guys will know about it.
Can we share the other screen? There's another screen waiting to come in.
Oh, probably. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, guys. Oh, that's amazing.
Congratulations.
Okay, happy birthday, James. So guys, let's have some birthday love for James in the chat. He is not only a published author, but on his 18th birthday.
Definitely close enough. Let's just hope that recognition system doesn't include one's age, because it'll have me down in seconds.
There you go.
We're really proud of you, James. It's not an easy feat, guys. If there's anybody in the chat who's published a book before, it's definitely not an easy task. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of reflection, a lot of iterations, and there's nobody better to learn about gamification than from James. So we're really proud of you. Yeah. Congratulations. And it's free for the next 48 hours.
And it is such a good read. It is really, really good. It's one of those books where you just go, this needs to be in every teacher's toolkit. This needs to be up on the shelf in the staff room, ready for everyone to just pick up and read. So, snap it up while it's free. Get it now.
Yes.
And again, share it. Share that link, because it is worth it.
James, let's put your screen on the screen so they can see the book again on Amazon, and let's get the link out to our viewers.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't share the screen.
I took over the screen with your birthday slide. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think we could probably get some sort of short link going as well at some point.
No, I can get you the short link, no problem.
But it's basically, you search for the gamified classroom, you will find James's book.
There
we go. There it is. Nice. By the way, it is the #1 book that you're looking for.
If you're not on the US site, it's available in all of the sites. You can just search it up. So if you're on the Belgian site, feel free. The UK site definitely has it. The French site has it. Monaco, I think, uses the French site. Sorry, Vip, I don't know.
There we go.
But she's already got it, so I'm not too worried.
Here it is.
There we go. Business now.
Hey, make sure to visit the link.
So, James, you're probably the person in Thursday PD who is the least self-promoted, but now is the time to promote your goodness. So tell us what this book is all about and why every educator in the world needs to pick it up and read it for back to school.
Well, it actually started with my master's dissertation 8 years ago. And I came up with this idea of using gamification economics. And actually what I was using was this idea of playing with SimCity. And as I started to learn, I left it for a while. Thought, this is great, this is useful. But then I came to teaching garden. I was really worried about coding getting a really bad rep as this kind of boring thing. And also, people want a really high degree of success. They want always A. And so what I wanted to do was to break that down so that students wouldn't be afraid to fail. they would think of failure or failing as their first attempt in learning. And so I came up with this gamification system so that rather than grades, you keep on building. And it's all about those levels and building and having fun. And it just grew from there. I mean, I started with like two kids who started, and they're like, this is amazing. And they got so competitive with each other. I spent half my lesson making challenges, and they're like, this is so good. And it just spread out and spread out. And the Python challenges is really computer science based. And, you know, it's got an audience. It's gone to Russia. It's gone to the US as a little site. It's featured on the Google website and stuff. And that's great. But that's a little bit narrow for all of those of us who love programming. And this is the expansion of that to all subjects and really helping people to actually make gamification. And yes, you can do the whole thing. You can just take one little thing and say, yeah, that's good for my kids, or that's it. But also it tells you about the pitfalls, because you know what I hate about a lot of ed tech when people advocate is they don't tell you the downsides. I'm completely honest and tell you what the downsides are and what mistakes you could make. So you don't just learn from my successes, you learn from my mistakes. And I think that's just as important. And too many ed tech gurus think of themselves as, hey, I'm this ed tech guru. I'm not actually in the classroom. No, I'm in the classroom every day teaching a full schedule. So this was my lockdown project because I had nowhere to go and I wanted to share this. I want to get out to as many people as possible. And apparently Amazon's really helped me with that just this week. So I'm really pleased about that. So yeah, that's what it's about. And the book is completely free. So feel free to read it and then you can get it. And, you know, we're here every week. So knock in the questions. I'm also on Twitter. So again, please feel free to do that. And I'd really enjoy it if you did that.
James is at ESL Web, so please give him a shout out on Twitter, and absolutely share this with your learning communities, guys, because there's just going to be so much authentic, meaningful strategies that you guys can pick up and use in your classroom. So it's really, really exciting time for all of it. So yeah, grab the link and sign up, read it, and join us next Thursday to share what you enjoyed in the book for sure.
Amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, that's the giveaway we promised.
I really like what you said too about the fail. I dropped that in the chat as well about the first attempt in learning. And it's kind of almost a really important piece for back to school too, because as Seti was saying, we need to make sure that we offer, you know, meaningful choice opportunities for our learners, and they need to take risks. And so it's important that we celebrate those risks, that we celebrate when they fail, because that's when they're going to say, hey, it is okay that I made a mistake, that I didn't achieve my goal, and I'm going to get right back up and try again. So I think there's a lot of awesome stuff in that book, James. Yay.
Yay, thank you. I can't believe that happened just this evening. It's Amazon is so quick at doing these things.
Doesn't surprise me though. It is really it's really good. It's a really good read. So
yeah, it means a lot coming from you guys because you are absolute pros.
I wouldn't say we're pros, James. You make us pros. And thanks to your book, now we're going to really go up the ladder.
We can actually say we have, you know, people that have built multiple things here. Like we've got James. I mean, first you build an app, which is brilliant, which also is mentioned in the book. Brilliant. Then you've got the extension, which is, again, it's been a very productive summer. So you've built your extension. It's probably helping hundreds of teachers and students right now. And now we've got the book, which is going to transform learning for so many classes. So it is just, I'm so happy to have you here in this group. And
I'm just so happy to have made
for
some
us to be here.
With James, right?
With the birthday boy.
Thank you.
Brilliant. So yeah, I think it's been a very quick little back to school chat. Next week, I think, Georgina, I think we've decided it's rubber ducks.
Rubber duck.
I will be here with my rubber ducky. So if you would like to see my family rubber ducky, y'all come back, okay? But come back with your shares. If you've used this also, we want to hear from you guys. So bring your articles, bring your shares, everything, and share with us. It's awesome.
Or any strategy maybe we can say, let's say the next week topic is just share one of your favorite strategies for the classroom, something that you know works for your class or for you, and then maybe we can all share that. How does that sound?
Yeah.
I love it.
Right, I think it's time for me to do the honors as the birthday boy. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.